Well, hello. My name is Junie Swadron, and I am so excited today because I have with me Patricia Campbell, who is a brand new author. Yay, brand new. And Patricia came to me just over a year ago to start writing her book I really want to write a book. I don't know where to begin. And now not only did she begin, she went through the entire process, which she will tell you about, but even more than that, she's going to tell you about herself, why she wrote this particular book, and how it's going to just inspire you in so many ways, especially if you are a woman who is looking to find ways to never, ever give up, which just happens to be the name of your book, Patricia. Patricia, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Junie.
Thank you. So I'm just going to, if it's okay with you, I'm going to read what, so that I don't forget a whole bunch of things about you. And so I'm going to be able to tell the listeners exactly some of what you put out in the world.
Sounds good.
Okay. Patricia Campbell is an award-winning certified transformational coach, inspiring speaker, best-selling author, and a wildly successful entrepreneur at the forefront of the movement for empowering women. Woohoo! From a struggling single teenage mom to a self-made millionaire, her extraordinary story of transforming her own life is the inspiration behind her bold mission to teach other women what is possible to create lives they absolutely love. Patricia's determination and resilience have inspired women for over 20 years, helping them break free and build their dreams. Reaching her breaking point at age 37, Patricia committed to creating the life she dreamed was possible. For the next 30 years, she immersed herself in personal growth and transformation, a journey that led her to study with world-renowned teachers like Mary Morrissey, Lisa Nichols, and Dr. Claire Zammit. As a result, she's a certified transformational business and life coach and workshop facilitator. Patricia now facilitates programs and workshops for women based on the vast wisdom accumulated over these 3 decades of her dedicated study, offering a clear, practical blueprint for highly motivated women to become unstoppable. Unstoppable. She empowers women to break through invisible obstacles. Often they're invisible, right? Those paradigms, those limiting beliefs that we just walk through life not even realizing we have them. We'll get into that later. And discover the infinite ability to create richly fulfilling businesses and lives. Yeah, they go together, right?
They do.
They do. And on top of her many accomplishments, she's also a Kundalini yoga teacher, a clinical EFT, that's tapping, relationships coach and practitioner, and has been a rewrite your life coach with moi to facilitate healing and transformation. Well, that's quite a lineup of accomplishments. It really, really is. And so I just want you, Patricia, for one moment, because sometimes people like yourself who have for many years now been out there in the world doing what you love, teaching other people to kind of take their creative genius and bring it into the world with what you teach. It's just something you do, and we don't necessarily take in what you just heard about yourself. I want you to just honor that, please. I want you to really take in the amount of beauty that you bring into the world, how you are raising the consciousness on this planet. And it wasn't always easy. And because I was privileged to be part of your writing process as your writing coach, throughout the whole thing, I got to be privy to what you had to go through as a human being, as a woman, as a scared teenager, to become that self-made millionaire, that self coming from, pretty abject poverty, or at some point, certainly, being in a place where it looked pretty darn hopeless, to who you are today and all those steps along the way. That's worth congratulating you, and for you to take that in. And now, this coming Tuesday, what's the date? The date is actually will be the 1st of November. Isn't that the 2nd of November? It's Wednesday. Okay. Will be your release of your beautiful book. You did it. You did it.
Junie, thank you. And thank you for that. It really, I'll be honest, it still blows my mind. There is not, every time I read it myself, it blows my mind, that I was that struggling single teenage mom, pregnant at 16 and raising my son on my own. And what I went through, it blows my mind that I am now teaching women how to create a life they absolutely love. It's humbling. It truly is. I don't take it for granted for a minute. And as I wrote the book, it's true, I got more in touch with the journey. I think as women, we do forget sometimes. We just do what we have to do, right? We do what has to be done in the day, and we get to where we get to, and we don't look back and celebrate the milestones, celebrate the journey. And it's been a humbling process to write the book, and to hear you say that, to hear you, it's one thing for me even to write it, which was difficult, to own our greatness. I think that's another thing that is hard for women, for me to own, well, where have I gotten to in my life, and what did it take for me to get here? That's it's humbling. So thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, you're so welcome. You do need to be reminded sometimes. But I want to ask you something. The almost obvious question. Why did you write this book? Why?
Well, that's a twofold question. So why did I write a book in the first place? I had a dream. I remember when I was a young girl, the very first time my mother ever took me to a library. And I'm already feeling emotional with, how you've just introduced me. And this brings it up for me, the feelings of being in that library and the smell of the books. I fell in love with books. And then I fell in love with reading the books. I remember having my first library card, and my passion for books started then. I think I was in grade 1, maybe grade 2. And they were my best friend for many, many years, as you'll all read in my book. And then, so there was that. I just had a dream to write a book. And then I got seriously decided to, I think now it's about 40 years ago, I really wanted to write a book, but I had no idea how. There was no Junie around at that time. So I started and stopped time and time and time again. And part of me gave up on that dream because I thought, well, it's maybe just never meant to be, until, of course, I met Junie and found out, yes, there is a way. There's a system to do this. There's a process to be guided, to be mentored by somebody that's already done it. It was amazing. And my passion for sure is to support women to really create a life they absolutely love, no matter where they are. I believe that for all of us, that my and your next season could be your best season. And that's why I wrote it. Thanks, Junie. And so I wanted women to know that, and I know that that there's power in me telling my story, which it's hard to tell our story, right? Of where we are, like down in the, yes, there's you introduced me as this is who I am today, but I wasn't always who I am today. There was a journey, and there was that, I'm going to call it my valley. There was the low point. And so to inspire women that it's possible, because if I could do it based on where I was at when my turning point, when I hit rock bottom at the age of 37, and I felt decades older, but if I could do it, I believe that any woman can do it. You make me
yeah, that is beautiful. And I want to ask you then, what was the number one thing then that you felt that you had to transform in your own personal life in order to get you to live that potential dream that you had seen in your mind, but it was like light years away. What did you, in reality, what was that one thing that you said, now or never?
Well, man, that one thing, there are so many things. However, if you're asking me for the number one thing, is that I had to make a firm decision. I had to make that commitment. And it took a bit of a catalyst moment. Well, not a bit of, a big catalyst moment in a heated conversation with my daughter. I had to make that commitment to myself that no matter what, I would never, ever give up in being the mom that I had always dreamt of being since I got pregnant at 16 in my naivety, and to being the woman that I dreamt of being. So I made that it was a vow. It was a pact with myself. It was that firm of a decision.
And once you made that decision, after what you've just said was, you had a clash, I suppose, with your daughter. You had something go on with that, and that was like that was it for you. That was like, okay, this is not the way I want to go forward. And that was what motivated you. That was your impetus. And so what did you do? I mean, what did your life look like at that time? In terms of where you were to where you wanted to be. What did you have to do to stay true to that commitment?
So much in that question. So, well,
Yeah.
where I was, as you'll read in the book, is I was twice divorced, living in a rented basement suite in East Vancouver, living paycheck to paycheck at a job that I did not love. And so I had no idea when I made that commitment. I had no idea what I had to do. If I had known, I would have done it at that point, because I did want to be an amazing mom and a great woman, and I wanted to be successful. I saw other people around me, people in my family being successful. And I made the commitment, and I just started to pay attention. And lo and behold, I believe firmly that when we make such a commitment to ourselves, that all manner of things unforeseen come to help us to fulfill that commitment. And sure enough, a woman mentioned a workshop to me that sounded like just what I needed. And it sounded like a stepping stone to get where I wanted to be. And I was scared. I was really scared. I was, as I mentioned, I was living paycheck to paycheck. So not only was I scared of, I'm going to, go to this thing, and what am I going to find out about myself? This was in 1990. Personal growth was not the rage. It was not well known. So I was scared, and I was scared as well, even when I made the commitment. What was I, what did that mean to make that commitment? How was that going to look? So there was a part of me that wanted to move forward, that wanted to make that change. And there was a part of me that was really scared. I had no idea. And a part of me that didn't believe in myself. So I took that first step eventually. You'll read the full story in the book. And I went to that first workshop, and it opened my eyes. I looked inside me inside me at who I am, who I'd become, what some of my beliefs were about myself, about life, about how life works. Up till then, I had really been looking at my circumstances, the conditions of my life. But when I began to look inside me, I felt that I started to think that, oh, okay, I might have, at that time, I didn't really think it then. I know now that I had the ability or the power to begin to make some changes. Because if I could change how I felt about myself, how I felt about how the world worked, maybe there was a chance. It was new. It was something new. And I dived right in. From that moment, really, and that it was just probably late August that I went to that one workshop, and it was 3 days, a group of women, and personal growth. I have never looked back. So for now, what are we, 2022? So that's over 30 years. I began to study everything that I could get my hands on. I read books. I went to workshops. I went to seminars. I had some work to do. I had some healing that I had to do to be the woman that I knew, or not that I didn't know, but that I felt was possible, that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just have so much respect for that. And I also relate to that very much, because way back then too, I called it a love food. You know, it was like a workshop junkie, but you know, and it was like fast food love, I think is what I called it, because yeah, because my life outside did not reflect what was in those rooms of where I was being taught things that I resonated in my heart, but I'd come back out into my world and it didn't look like that. And so I'd have to go to the next one and the next one so that I could be in, so that I could lock it in until my world started to reflect that which became who I am. So I relate in that way. And I think that that's one of the things that you do. You help women, you help people to realize that that once they commit, and you said, I made a commitment on a particular day that this is not going to be who I'm going to express, how I'm going to express myself in the world. I am not that. I know I can be better than that. And that commitment led you to what else you said was that a whole, you know, plethora, a whole world of unforeseen circumstances, people come into our lives and that will change everything. And even though you were scared to, you know, when you were broke and everything else, and because I do know the story, you committed to being at that place and you found it and it changed your life. That was the beginning and you didn't stop. You became unstoppable. So I do you think that people, like, did you ever write down the things that you wanted? And is that an important thing to do you think?
Yes, great question, Junie. It absolutely is. And something else you just mentioned there, I just want to touch on it because it was so brilliant, is that workshop junkie. And I think I heard someone say that they don't want to be what we term as this. It's a judgment, a workshop junkie. And yet I want to tell everyone that repetition and immersion are the mother, father, sister, brother of transformation. Right. So no judgment on that. That is how we learn. That is how we transform. It's like the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. That there is an immersion that happens, and transformation is. It's not always easy. It can be messy, right? And so to do it alone, we will revert to, like I would have reverted back to that part of me that was scared, that didn't believe it could happen, that had doubts. And so to be supported, to be surrounded by like-minded people, and then to let it happen, it happens at a cellular level. The changes that we want to make. And so it's not just I'm going to go to one workshop and everything's going to be glorious, or I'll read a book. It does take time. It does take a lot of repetition. And so back to your question, is that yes, writing it down is important because it solidifies it. We can think it. We have our left brain and our right creative brain, so we can think it. But there's something very magical, as you, Junie, would know yourself. There is magic when we write anything down. When it comes out of us, that we write it down with a pen, or even I love pencils, and we write it down on the paper. Something magical begins to happen. So it's very important to write it down and not just keep it sort of in our head, because the doubts can often overcome those thoughts.
Yes, yeah, it's true, you know, and it's something also, I think when we write something down, it has an energy that has power to it. And it's not just a fleeting thought. We can pick it up. We can pick that piece of paper up and read it again and again. And it can just, if we have the impetus to write it, because it's something that's so pure and so true within us, then to reread those words and make that, like you said, repetition is the mother, father, sister, brother, you know, God of transformation and success. Then it's our own unique, you know, guidance system, really, that's right there, which is the same thing that when, like you said, with, you know, the workshops that you offer and the books that you just, you know, that you just written and published, and those things that we're attracted to. The reason I think we go back to these things again and again, it's because it's our destiny. It's something that's calling us. Would you say that?
100%. And destiny is it's the perfect word, because there's the soul in us. And in those moments when we are called, when we long for something more, or there's something that we're dissatisfied with, our soul is calling us to fulfill whatever that is. And then there is that other part of us, that human nature in us that wants to, pull us back. Fear comes in sometimes, right? And we want to shrink and pull back. And what was I thinking? And so, yes, absolutely.
What if, for people watching this right now, they don't even know what their dream is. Maybe they just feel so far away from what they once, maybe as a young girl, thought could be this is what I dream of, right? And then life, came in, and they had other circumstances and challenges, and their life doesn't look anything like it used to, or what they imagined it could, and so they may not even have a dream right now. What would you suggest to that?
I would suggest start by reading the book, come to in my workshop, or there are other workshops, to really begin to sit in. You mentioned the word that creates an energy, to sit in the energy of where someone is talking about really believing in it, and then starting to listen to just the little whisperings. And sometimes it is a whispering because we have forgotten. And so listening to the whisperings, the longings that you still have. I noticed for me, if I would watch a movie and I would think, oh, I'd love that. But because I hadn't had the experience yet, or I didn't know how to dream, in our culture, I think women we have not, maybe many of us have not cultivated that ability to listen to our heart, to listen to the calling of our soul. We think I think it's over 70 or 80,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are repetitive. So to learn that it's okay to dream, it's okay to listen to what may not be logical or reasonable. We've been raised in a masculine model, up till now. That's been the culture, and so to get back into our creativity, to get connected again to what is in our heart, what is the calling of our soul, what is in our belly, and sometimes it takes really looking at what we're discontented with. So if we're discontented, that's what we don't want. Well, then what's the opposite of that? And I talk about that in the book. I talk about it at every workshop. I used to I'd go to restaurants, and that's how I would order this is how I got in touch with that. I would order my whatever I wanted by what I didn't want, because I couldn't tell. So that's how far removed, that's how disconnected I was. And I think many of us are disconnected from ourselves. We're disconnected spiritually, and we're disconnected from ourselves, from that part of us that is our soul, that is our destiny. So surround yourself with, or get in touch with, have a mentor, find someone that has accomplished that, and talk to them. So you can start to, at the beginning, yes, listen to them, but ideally it's you begin to listen to yourself.
Yes. And I think that it is so important when we don't even know how to listen to ourselves, because it has been really those kinds of, possibilities that we dreams that we have been clouded over so much by what our societal expectations have become, that we don't know that it's possible. A mentor like you, somebody who can take a person by the hand and say, I've been there. I know I was exactly where you are. And so I want you, I'm offering my hand to you. And you do it so beautifully. I mean, I've had we both, I think, mentored each other. I've been the privilege of being in your courses as well. And because I believe every coach needs a coach. And right. My expertise is what it is as a psychotherapist and as a book writing coach, and your expertise is empowering women to go to the nth degree of what is possible, and then just be unstoppable. And so, tell us a little bit about some of those workshops that you offer, and how a person might, and how they will find you there, and what they could learn beyond what we've said.
Wow, thank you so much. Absolutely, I would love to. And what you said is so true. I think we all need a coach. I will never not be mentored or have a coach myself, because we cannot become our best selves by ourselves. I believe that with everything in me. So how to find me is, well, I have a website. It's www.patriciacampbell.ca, and I'll always list my workshops in that website. I think my contact is in the back of the book. How and what'll happen? What will happen? What will happen? Well, I always have everyone set an intention. It's, yes, I have an agenda. I have what I want to, it's like the book. I have what my intention is to give as much as I can to every woman who is highly motivated to create whatever she wants. And success means whatever it means to each individual person. So that's always my intention. And I have a great formula that I've learned through those amazing teachers and mentors that I have become certified by. And it's what do you want? What does each participant want? You set your intention. And that is the beginning point. So, and then I ask women, so hear whatever I say through the doorway of your desire, of your longings and your discontents. And so I believe in interaction. I have exercises, and it can be silently inside. Some women love to talk and some women don't. Some women like to just absorb it silently. So it's personal. It's, so I customize it as much as I can. And at the end of the day, my intention is that every woman will always leave with at least one thing that she can take with her to begin to take a step to move forward. And some women do want to take that deeper. I offer year-long coaching programs, and I have a VIP small group. I have a larger group that women that just want to come out. I teach once a week, and then another night of the week I have a laser coaching Q&A. I'm now going to, this coming year, now that COVID is finally, thankfully, laying to rest, I'm going to be doing more workshops, some online and some live. And I'll be doing more keynote speaking. So it's just, again, immersing yourself to whatever degree that you're at, whatever degree each one, whatever level they're at, how big or how small. It's just beginning to, it's like planting a seed, right? It's like a rose. We plant a rose, a seed for a rose bush, and then we begin to grow and develop. And it's, so it's personal.
Yes, I was just thinking, and the aroma of those rose bushes. And there's something very magical in groups when they're being led by people who really know what they're doing, that really know how to hear, listen respectfully, hold the space, and honor the people who are there. And I know that you do that beautifully. And I know that it is so magical because, you're not alone. There's something very, very powerful, obviously, on one-on-one coaching, and when, so that's individual. And there's, I do both myself, but the group, what you learn from other people, and that you're not alone. And when you've got this tribe of women who are just empowering each other and are championing each other, and doesn't matter what you're going through, they're there to just hold you, and that you do that with everybody, and you hear everybody's words, their needs, their longings. And this in itself is so transformational. You get off a call and you just, no matter how you felt beforehand, you're just feeling so good and solid inside of yourself. And it's so beautiful. I love what you do. I love how you do what you do, and that you listen to your heart and you listen to your impulse to stay committed to what you committed to, and embrace all of those people who have come into your life to hold your hand and guide you, so that you can send your ripples from what you've learned out into the world. And I believe that's really what our purpose here is on this earth, is to learn what we learn, and then reach out to others and teach what we've learned. And you do it so beautifully. And I just really want to congratulate you again on writing this book, because as a book writing coach for many, many people who've become #1 bestsellers like yourself, that it does not start as an easy process. Can you share a little bit about what that process was like for you, Patricia, to write a book? And it's one thing, it's one thing to think, I want to write a book. And then what was it like for you?
Wow. And okay, now that's a great question. What was that like for me? Now that was the transformational process. There's all this emotion. I tell you, I'm feeling it's, when I look back, you're right there's a couple of things you said there. So let me just sit with that for a second. So in the workshops that I do, and you mentioned it, it's one of the most profound things is to be held, and to be listened to and to be heard, because often in our very busy lives, that doesn't happen. And so it's an energy. It's like, I'm going to call it a container that's safe. That for me is important when I do workshops. It has to be safe. It has to be confidential. There are elements. And the same thing was with having, writing a book, having you as a book writing coach, because it was, yes, I wanted to. Yes, I had that longing. I had that desire. By myself, I couldn't do it. I already knew that much. But to have you as a coach who, in those moments when in the book, I talk about paradigms, or my limiting beliefs cropped up that said, who do you think you are? What are you doing? Why are you writing these very personal memories, these incidents in your life? And you held me. You held the sacredness of why. You reminded me of why was I writing this book in the first place. And that for me, that was the transformation in this case of wanting to be a writer to becoming an author. And and what was interesting that I think even I forget, so I'll remind you that partway through the process, I had an opportunity to be in a group of fellow coaches, and we wrote a compilation of I wrote a 2 or 3 page story of our own journey that became a best-selling book, and I'm a featured author in it. That happened out of the blue when I was coaching, when you were coaching. I was working with you to write this book that I'm writing. Never expected that, but I became, in essence, I was a featured and best-selling author in a co-authored book. Because you held it. You had me when those parts of me didn't want to believe in myself or that doubted. You reminded me, and it kept me going, because on my own, I would have given up. I would have quit and thought, what again? Like I probably have tried, I don't know how many times, I can't count the number, but countless times on my own. I would get so far, I'd get excited, and then boom, I would reach that point. So to me, I see it exactly like it's no different than a woman that has a dream to find the love of her life, to become a millionaire. We get to a certain point, and then what happens is that our limiting beliefs, we get so far, we all have a pattern of where we stop, of where we get stuck. And so in this case with you, you helped, you would sometimes take my hand and kind of pull me a bit. There was a little bit of, come on, you can do this, encouragement. It's, again, it's like holding the space. So to be held in that sacredness of, that's what my heart and my soul was longing for. And then amplifying it. And it's so similar to me. I just see it exactly the same. I know that you do that in your Rewrite Your Life workshops. That's why I studied that with you, because we
I'm now a certified coach.
Right, exactly. And it all works together. But again, on our own, we are all going to reach, we all have a pattern. We reach I'll call it our inner glass ceiling. It's all internal. And so to have a coach, in this case, it was writing to help get, that book, I believe with everything in me, would still not be a reality today.
Well, it is a reality. And thank you for what you said, because it is as important to me. This being my passion is to help people find their voice, and their authentic, true voice. And, being able to having, studied and having the skills as a psychotherapist and a book writing coach, and to get a compelling, book out there, but not just that, but to have someone, excuse me, like yourself, as most people are when it comes to writing a book. I want to write a book, and then it's like, what do I say? How will I say it? All of that stuff. Who am I? All of that, to go through that and come through being the most empowered part of you, because that's the energy that you bring into every page of that book. And you've done it, and you've done it so beautifully. So again, I totally honor and congratulate you for that huge success. So let's just breathe that in. And it's not for the faint of heart. And it is for people who absolutely have something they want to say, and they know that it matters. And they're willing. And you did that. So is there any last, words that you would like to say about your book or your teachings, or to women who are out there at whatever level they're there, to just go the next step?
Any last words? Let's see. She wants a writer. She wants a coach and a writer and an author to have last words. I love it. Really. Thank you.
I hang out with you forever, so it's
right. I believe with everything in me that there is a power in all of us that is more powerful than any circumstance, any condition, any limitation, that we can utilize that power within us, that power that breathes us. We can't do that on our own, that power that beats our heart. So I just want to say to every woman on the planet, every woman that's watching and listening to this right now, that there is a power in you that is greater than any circumstance or condition, that anything you dream is possible. So
well, that's beautiful. And your book, Never Ever Give Up. Never Ever Give Up. Where can people find it?
Well, it's as of November the 2nd. It will be on Amazon, both, in fact, Amazon internationally. And there's a Kindle and there is a paperback. So go on Amazon November the 2nd and purchase the book. And as it was forwarded by a very amazing woman, by the way, Junie herself. And as she said, let it be your guidebook to take the steps that are there for you to take to create the life that you would love to have.
Yeah. So bless you. Thank you for making the difference in the world and the way in which you do it. And just keep going, sister, because we love you. And I am so excited for the people who have yet to discover you. Oh my God, you are in for an absolute beautiful, beautiful journey to your own heart's desire. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Junie.